Today we have a leader, first amongst equals, who's been an industry veteran with dynamic presence in financial services for nearly 3 decades. He's also the founder team member and deputy managing director at Max Life Insurance, and he's been associated with the company for nearly 2 decades. Uh, he has consistently demonstrated qualitative leadership across diverse verticals, and it's a matter of great pride that I get to Viswanand to this stage today. Vishy, as he's known, come and please do inspire all of us. Round of applause, please.
Break your promise of not using a written introduction, but sorry for that.
I used one, but I'm trying to get better.
Yes, it takes me back to my college days when I remember distinctly I was doing my management, and then one had to choose your stream, right, work stream. And those days, this is like going back 3 decades, when I was enamored with advertising, with marketing, and I said, "Ek din CMO banunga." But वो शायद remained a dream only, and I got into finance. So when this invitation came, I said, maybe there is a chance. Maybe there's a chance. But more importantly, when Supriya and Vatsal's mail reached me, I found two sentences which were really thought-provoking, and that's what got me here. One was, I don't know if you recall the email, which must have reached most of all of you as well. It said, brave new ideas that were unlocked. Brave new ideas that were unlocked. And the moment I read that sentence, it took me back to some stories in the last 10 months. And then there was a topic that touches the brand soul daily. A topic that touches the brand soul daily. I said, wow, ye to dil ki baat hai. And that's why I'm here. Now, but let me ask you, and I've heard these words so many times before ki sun ke kaan pak gaye, which is challenging circumstances. What is this? The new normal. I think it's abnormal. I don't know what is normal about this, right? Not meeting people. When you meet people, they can't identify who you are because you're masked. I really can't understand what is normal about it. It's very abnormal. So and you know, these challenging times, difficult times. So let me ask all of you: do you think what would you prefer, good times or difficult times? As marketers, good times. Difficult. So as finance professionals, right? I think one would veer towards difficult times, and I'll tell you why. Just think about your good times. You all had your careers, right? The good times that you had, how did it impact you? Your outlook to life, your outlook to your teams, your outlook to your stakeholders. Words that come to your mind are confidence, sometimes overconfidence, bordering on arrogance. You take things for granted. You take even people for granted, don't you? कोई छोड़ के जा रहा है, no problem. Market तो खुला है, we'll hire a new person. So you take people, things all for granted, and we end up, I think it brings out the worst in us, good times. It might be good for the business, but personally, it brings out perhaps the worst in us. The most complacent self comes during good times, isn't it? What can go wrong? But in difficult times, and these times, especially these last 10, 11 months, all of us have been through difficult times, right? All of us have had to reinvent not just the business model, but ourselves. How we deal with ourselves, with our family members, with our kids at home, with our spouse. And so someone was saying we all need a record because we've lived together for nearly 1 year without the need for a social ecosystem being there every weekend, right? So that's fantastic. But more importantly, in difficult times, what I have observed is that it makes you more humble. You tend to reflect more. Actually, your mouth becomes smaller and your ears become bigger. You listen more, don't we, in difficult times? And I think that brings out actually the best in us, because discipline, that commitment, that focus for success, all of this really starts to come into play. And so to that extent, what if, even in good times, and I think I was just remarking today at breakfast, it looks like यहाँ पे unlock हो गया, right? People are already talking about herd immunity and all that. And anyway, that's a long story, but it looks like we are getting back to the normal, and good times will come. And thanks to the budgets and all, I was asking all of us, everyone says that no bad news is good news. So everything is up. So wonderful. So if that is the case, what if in good times we were to at least approach and act and behave like we were in difficult times? What would happen? What would happen? Then maybe we will never have to face bad times again for ourselves and our business, isn't it? So let me tell you two key learnings that I have experienced myself in these last 10 years in a sector which most of you are not very familiar with, which is BFSI, financial services mein kya marketing. In fact, the CMO's role is, you always keep wondering what could be the role, right? But it's very, very significant, and that's what we realized during this time as well. So firstly, my first big takeaway is this: be paranoid. Assume that you're in difficult times all the time. And when I think of one company on this planet who epitomizes this be paranoid, what name comes to your mind? Which company do you think, a large company, is actually paranoid all the time? Maybe. So all these three guys, Amazon, Facebook and Google, are monopolies, right? Literally, the big three. And I think Google takes the cake. Google takes the cake. They have made the search category into a name, just like what Coke did, right? So go and Google. They, I think, are the most paranoid company, and we work very closely with them. And I see that you must Google this. Go to Google and Google saying, is Google paranoid about being a monopoly? Just do it. I did it last night, and guess what the result came? A Forbes article which said that Google isn't a monopoly. That's how paranoid they are about their status. So they always like to be in the background, always like to feel that they are nuked, they are down under, kabhi bhi band ho sakta hai, kind of view. And that's what I get even when I talk to the teams here, even in India. Right? It's so funny, but that's how they are. So I think that be paranoid is actually epitomizing this particular aspect. And like Lloyd was saying, this resilience, this agility, this pivoting. What we did as a company was in the month of March, when and I work with a life insurance company. Typically, March is equal to 3 months of the year, right? 3x of the business happens in March. People buy, and agents also go and sell. Both happens. And in that month, after lockdown, our sales dropped down to 1/5. 1/5, it's usual. And we are a company, which means what? Agar 15,000 log hain hamare employees, actually you can only sustain 1/5. So we were faced with that predicament, what to do. So we just huddled together. Nobody had any idea. We had no strategy, no BCP to face a situation like this. Because sales, how many of us have an insurance policy, a life insurance policy? Okay, keep your hands up if you have bought it on your own without the help of an agent or a bank seller. Online, purely online. Okay, where you continued, you sold, you bought the policy, but without even speaking to an agent on the phone, a telephone agent, a tele agent. You see, this is it. This is the market. This is the market share also. It's about 6%, 7%. The rest actually require this face-to-face interaction. So we were left with this situation where how do we migrate from face-to-face to home to home? Agent is sitting at their home, customers at their home. How do you still conclude a transaction? How do you even know what to buy or what to sell? So we called it Mission Possible. It was inspired by Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible. So we said, no, possible. We can migrate from face to face to home to home. We had no clue how to go there. But we did it. We did a 4x4x4 in hindsight. We never thought of it that way. But how to sell digitally, how to recruit a career and onboard agents, individuals like you and me, becoming an agent digitally without even meeting anyone. So recruitment digitally of a variable career, and then training digitally, and finally sales management digitally. Retail sales management with a distribution force of 50,000 agents and 60,000 bank advisors and 15,000 employees operating digitally, virtually. So we somehow managed. In week 1, we got all this design done. In week 2, who's we? I really don't even know who did it. Or who can I ascribe this to? Because it was collective. There is no one individual who did anything. Week 2, 10,000 employees trained. Week 3, 10,000 agents trained. Week 4, 10,000 bank employees trained. These were our leads. And then, so we were back in business by May. And we kept a target that we should be at least 75% of last year's sales by H1, by September, April to September. Lo and behold, we achieved 100%. And now we are on the growth path. And it's not that the industry is growing. The industry is still in degrowth. So I think God is blessing us. But this be paranoid works. This Google strategy works. That's one big takeaway for me. So even in good times, don't think that you got tailwinds, thoda aaram karo. Nahi ho sakta. You never know when the tailwinds will stop. And second is find purpose. Someone told me this, life is all about not just perspiration and hard work. You require some inspiration and you require some luck. He coined it very nicely, IPL. Life is IPL. Inspiration, perspiration, luck. So perspire कर सकते हो, मेहनत कर सकते हो, पर थोड़ा inspiration चाहिए और थोड़ा luck भी चाहिए. Luckily for us, we had found purpose. After 4 years of deep diving as a management team, we found a purpose. Why do we exist? If the company that I work with, Max Life Insurance, were to shut down tomorrow, who will miss us? Who wants us to survive? Whoever will miss us. And why? What's the purpose to exist? So we did a lot of work and we had some great minds, marketers, to provoke us and ask us these questions. हम क्यों हैं? किस लिए हैं? करना क्या चाहते हैं? And nothing to do with numbers. And we found our purpose. Our purpose actually is one line, 9 words I think, which is inspire people to increase the value of their life. So that's what we do. We inspire you to increase the value.
Sorry, what was that?
Inspire people to increase the value of their life. So how much are you worth, sir? Do you think? Simple. That's a simple conversation starter, right? I'll say, I don't know, what's my salary? Or, okay, how much are you worth to your family? Oh, more than my salary, because I learn more, I'll save more, ghar bhi hai. And suddenly you're talking about your human life value. So without getting into those complications, right? And we found that with that, we were able to increase the premiums that we talk in this conversation by about 30% with every customer, right? So we just had to have this, and this came through some brilliant marketing minds, right? A finance mind would never have thought of it. And this purpose has actually uplifted everyone. So every agent knows about this, every employee knows about this. Great idea about the luck factor is that we launched this last year, before COVID. So when COVID happened, we said, देखा? देखा? So now अपना time आ गया. We said अपना time आ गया, अब चलाएंगे. And it really worked. And so people felt that there is some preordained strategy. Purpose है, COVID आ गया, people are now scared about life, death. People are not talking about protection or their families. Suddenly have seen death happening in the neighborhood. Disease happening. Suddenly they wondered how much insurance cover do I have. And we got the last maximum hits on our website is my policy COVID covered? And our answer was simple. Why ES? People loved it, right? And we made that our prime homepage, so that the people have understood that we know what's their worry. And all of this worked. And from a market share of 15% online, our market share became 30%. And there are 26 players. So your rightful market share will be, you know how much. So we actually became the number 1 brand in Policy Bazaar. We became the number 1 brand in Paytm. We became the number 1 brand in insurers' websites. So I think that these 2 big takeaways is 1, be paranoid, and 2, find purpose. Find purpose for your company. Only you folks can do it. The finance folks can't do it. The business, the sales folks can't do it. The product folks can't do it. You folks can do it. And you can help your company. So that's really my takeaway from the last 10 months. Thank you.